developments with Democratic Senator Maize Hirono of Hawaii. She's a member of the Judiciary and Armed Services Committees. Senator Hirono, thanks for joining us. You're one of the few lawmakers that we see in the Capitol
I haven't run into anybody else yet.
Well, we're glad to have you, and happy holidays. Let me ask you this. The White House says Senate Democrats would be ready to strike a deal to end the shutdown, but have been reluctant to do so in order to help Nancy Pelosi secure the speakership over in the House. Are Senate Democrats ready, in fact, to strike a deal? Are you being held up in some way?
No. In fact, Nancy, I'm pretty sure, already has the votes. If there's somebody who knows how to count, it's Nancy Pelosi. But it's another example of how Trump wants to lay the blame on everybody else. And today and yesterday, I guess, it's blame Nancy. When the shutdown came about, because the president basically went back on an understanding that both the U.S. House and the U.S. House and the Senate had when the Senate voted to keep government running until February in a voice vote, no less. That bill went to the House, and suddenly President Trump, watching Fox News and listening to the very loud voices on Fox News, got afraid, basically, and said, well, I'm not going to do this. And notice that he's not accepting responsibility for the government shutdown, which he said he would. So to me, it's sad, but it's par for the course. And who's paying the price for all this? 800,000 federal employees and all of the people who contract with government who probably will not be made whole. And so it continues. And if there's anybody who should take responsibility and come up with a way to begin the government running again, it is the president.
Let me ask you this, though. As we head into the new year and the Democrats take control in the House, won't the shutdown at that point represent a failure of the entire government? Won't Democrats share some of the responsibility at that point?
There are already bills out there. There's the bill that we passed in the Senate, and if the House passes that and the president wants to veto that bill, then he can do so because he's not getting his vanity wall. And so with the House in Democratic control, I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to pass the bill that was already passed out of the Senate to keep government running.
And so at this point, what you're saying is that when Senate Democrats come back, when House Democrats come back, and they start talking about a package to send to the president to reopen the government, there won't be wall funding in that legislation. He's not getting his wall, as Senator Schumer said.
Well, another way that it could happen is that there already, as you know, some money for the wall in the Homeland Security appropriation bill that had been passed. So that could be another scenario. But be that as it may, if the House passes the Senate-passed bill, then it just goes to the president for his signature. And it does not have funding for the wall because it only takes us to February. And we're going to have to come back and discuss and renegotiate everything.
And how long are you willing to hold out? If you're not offering money for a wall and the president says, well, I'm just going to hold out as well, how long could this potentially last?
I think it's really clear that the president should take responsibility for it. All he has to do is tell the House, go ahead and vote on that bill that I, the president, was going to sign until he started listening to Fox News. And he should just tell them that he can end the shutdown today, tomorrow. So I just really think that it's so terrible that everybody keeps putting all the blame on everybody else when, let's face it, we wouldn't be in this situation were it not for the president who continues to change his mind. And this is what he did with DACA when we were working on that.
And let me ask you this. The president says he's considering closing the entire southern border. I'm sure you saw this earlier today, unless a wall is built. This wall that you've now referred to as this fake vanity wall. Your response to that threat, that he would try to close the entire border with Mexico. Is that even feasible?
That's a really good question. I don't know that it's very feasible. I don't think it is because we're talking about, 1,100 miles of border? What's he going to do, place an agent every 2 feet? I really don't know. But then he's also today talking about how Mexico is actually, in effect, going to pay for the wall because of the great deal that he got in NAFTA, which wasn't a total redoing of NAFTA, by the way. And so the president says all kinds of things, and the bottom line is that this is all part of a huge anti-immigrant posture that the president has implemented, starting with, of course, when he started talking about a Muslim ban and going on to the separation of children at the border and the tragedy of 2 children dying in the custody of government and Secretary Nielsen being there. This is all part of a total anti-immigrant screed that the president has been on for 2 years now. And as far as I'm concerned, it should stop, and I'm really glad that the House is now in Democratic hands so that we can have some checks and balances to what I would consider this out-of-control president.
All right, and this debate will start all over again in the new year. Senator Maize Hirono, thank you very much. We'll be watching to see if we can solve that shutdown in the new year. Thank you. You take care as well.
Happy New Year.
You as well. And coming up next, how long will it take to end the government shutdown, and is there any room for compromise? We'll get a Republican perspective from retiring Senator Jeff Flake and also ask him to look ahead. Are any Republicans